My favorite thing to eat is soups, warm soups, yeah, spicy.
What inspired you to make a change?
Yeah, unhealthy cycles in my life revolving around, I think, the use of internet and just never having my own space to be, both those things.
Do you like being mobile?
I'm not actually very mobile because I try not to move very much because the camper setup I have is a truck with a Vanguard in the back, and so yeah, it's kind of hard on gas, so I try not to move very much.
Can you read people's minds?
Can I read people's minds?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, yeah. Yeah, I'm a Pisces, so, you know. I don't know if I can read people's minds, but I've had a few times where like psychic things have came up in the last little while, and I don't know too much about it yet, but maybe if I work on it more, I could start reading people's minds more. Yeah, Robert.
What do you need to get by?
A community of people, food, and something of a practice for myself to keep me grounded.
What's your favorite and least favorite part of living in a band?
Okay, least favorite I'll start with. The dampness and coldness and mold growth that you have to kind of deal with. The best part is having my own space, the quietness, and lack of distraction. What's a space that's inclusive for me?
Yeah, and where do you find that community that you talk
Well, part of it's right here for sure. Like I spend a lot of time in the chapel. I also work here, and so that's one space. Climbing gyms and people's houses, like if they let me crash on their couch or like cook dinners with them, that's super nice because then I don't have to be cooking in the camper. And yeah, I'd say and just being open, like literally just talking to strangers. That is sometimes where you can find community as well.
But a community that welcomes you and your lifestyle and your trailer. Your camper.
Where do you park?
Where do I park? Oh, okay, cool, yeah. So I spent a little while, like a very short amount of time at a friend's house, like in their driveway. It was too crowded. Some people bumped cars. I got out of there. I was kind of evicted, kind of not. But now what I've been doing and what I did before is pretty much I just go to Google Maps, find spaces that look quiet, go check them out in person, try to see if there's like, you know, no parking signs. Right now I'm like right behind Fresh Coast Foods. There's a rule in Saanich, 72 hours max. So I'm like there for 72 hours, spend a men's circle where I'm in a men's circle, I'll spend a night there. And then on Sundays I spend my day at Boulder House. So I just kind of do this little loop. Yeah. But again, it's just Google Maps and checking out locations and feeling it out. Yeah. And I can talk more to you about that after. Yeah.
Sorry, you've written something on here about finding peace in the city. I was wondering if you could just like speak a little bit to that, or if you've been able to find that.
Yeah, so I think I've been noticing a lot lately, especially I've been hanging out in Salt Spring a lot. It's quiet, and finding peace in the city for me is finding that quietness in the city. Being in my camper is like one of those places of peace, and also in the city, lots of food systems that you can kind of like take advantage of. I don't want to say this is one of them, but kind of. Dumpsters are another. So like those are all kind of ways I find peace in the city. Yeah.
What pisses you off?
What pisses me off is people. Yeah, like blindness and like inability to like be open. But this is also something that pisses off me about myself, that I'm pissed off about that because I'm trying to see the world more compassionately. So that pisses me off big time. Yeah.
What are the dangers of being too comfortable?
Being too comfortable is that you just start living very unsustainably, both for your like mental self and also for like the environment around you. Yeah.
Have you noticed a change in your meditation practice since making that change in your lifestyle?
Yeah, like my sadhana, I've been falling deeply into meditation before bed. Before maybe I'd go on my phone, on the internet. Yeah, and so I've been meditating a lot more before bed. And also then with the coldness, falling out of my meditation practice a bit compared to where I was at the start of the term, even though it was warmer or colder. Yeah.
Will you ever move back into a house, and how do you think that'll change you when you do go, or if you do go back to practice?
Good question. I honestly see my future being van bound for a long time or tiny home bound. If I was to move back into a house, it would just have to be like a very synchronistic situation where I know the people who have the land and maybe it's a tiny little home on the land, or in a community, something of a commune or something like that. Those are the only ways I really see myself. I want to have a garden on the top of my van one day, so that's like future thinkings, yeah.
Do you get lonely here, man?
Do I get lonely? No, not at all. No. I love it. Yeah. And if I'm lonely, I can just go and be in places like this, or yeah, go to places where I find like my people and community. Yeah.
Have you ever considered getting a pet for your van? Since you don't have a landlord? Bring them all with you?
Getting a pet? Nah. I think, it'd be cool, but I think I'm already a lot of work, so. Yeah. And I'm more of a cat person. I don't think a cat would dig like living in a camper, because then one day the home wouldn't be where it expects, and it'd be like, whoa. Yeah. $50, it might be 40 on the sheet, I'm not sure, but $50 is that was my aspiration, to spend no more than $50 per month. For these last 4 months while I've been living in the camper. First month, in January, I spent 70. Last month, I spent like 65, and then this month, I'm really hoping to spend just $50 total. Yeah.
Is this including Boulder Hills?
I paid that at the start of December, like at the end of December,
Okay.
and so I don't count that because I paid for 4 months of climbing. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but that's all included. Yeah, food and gas and everything. Yeah. What originally drew me was I thought it was I think I kind of got into climbing, and a lot of people have vans who are into climbing, and they just travel around, the States or Canada and just climb. And I was like, well, that's so sweet. Like, that's where it started. And then I started watching a lot of like van conversion videos, and then it just really lined up that a friend was selling her camper and hadn't even put it up for sale yet, and I landed on it, and that's how I ended up in it. But originally, yeah, it was just like, it seemed like a cool lifestyle. Didn't know much about it at that point. It wasn't seclusion though. Yeah.
Where do you find passion in comparison to peace?
Passion compared to peace? I find, sorry, say it again.
Yeah, where do you come across passion? You were talking about finding peace in the city. Where do you find passion in your current circumstance?
I guess in every day, man. Like, yeah, like I guess in finding peace, like that's a passion. Like if you can be kind of grounded and content, like that's a major passion of my life, or like aspiration, I guess, but it's turned into a passion. Yeah, I'd line those two up for sure.
The question about the pet kind of intrigued me. Trying to imagine you living in a camper with a pet, has a problem. But then I was thinking, well, to what extent does the camper limit relationships with a significant other person?
At the moment, my partner lives on Salt Spring, so it's perfect because I get to go like at a pretty much an all-inclusive, retreat when I go to her house on Salt Spring. She spent some nights in the camper, and it's been really chill. During the day, I don't spend much time in there. Just do some practice, and if I want to do some writing or that kind of thing. I haven't found it. I think it's honestly opened my relationships up more because I'm just more in the community and more around, and can't really hide in my camper because it's cold. Yeah.
What do you do to see things more compassionately? Do you have an active practice for that?
Yeah, instead of like when I feel the anger and frustration, often before I would just bottle it. Now I do a lot of meditating or praying for like salvation of others and salvation of myself. And in that way, that's how I like release those feelings. Yeah, instead of yelling. And sometimes I yell actually, just like if I'm walking around, I just scream at the top of my lungs if I really need to, or hug trees. Those are all ways you can do it, or that I do it.
Do you find that living in a trailer
changes like your headspace and maybe frees up some conceptual paradigms a bit?
Yeah, it definitely frees up some headspace. Yeah, you can't get overly comfortable and you can't slow down. You kind of just have to like always be doing something, but sometimes that's doing nothing in the sense of meditation. I don't know. So I guess I don't know if it clears up headspace, but it keeps you on your toes a bit more. It definitely makes you really love spaces like this, like warm spaces, and yeah. I don't know about opening headspace though. I haven't thought about that too much.
Have you found it has any impact on your schoolwork or your grades and like how focused you are on school?
Yeah, so for about 2 years now, or like a year and a half, I have honestly not given a bad word about school. I just really am not really into it. I'm not really fully here. If anything though, living in the campers helped. A vicious cycle I had was not doing well at school or not doing homework. Binge eating, watching YouTube videos, other things you can do that are bad on a computer, and then just on that cycle, and it's taken away from being present. And so being in the camp, I feel more present, and so that relates to better schoolwork. Yeah, but I haven't been getting good grades. Yeah. You're saying, how do you feel welcomed in Victoria in certain locations you want to camp, and just generally like being in a camper compared to like other people who aren't? Yeah, so personally, I've not actually felt unwelcomed. I've had interactions with police where they actually phone me and were like, hey, we're gonna tow you if you don't move because I parked in a spot for 2 weeks, you know? So through that, like just the fact that the cop would phone me and like let me know that was like really nice. And when I'm chilling at my camper, sometimes like I'm not smoking marijuana right now, but I'd just be smoking a joint off the back of my camper and people would be walking by and I'd just be waving and just trying to be nice and like, you know, joyful towards them. Maybe the joint doesn't help, but in general, just like when I see people around my camper, I don't hide from them. I just like openly say hello, how are you, and just try to put off this kind of pulse of good energy, and that really helps me feel welcomed. And kind of the setup I have right now, like down behind Fresh Coast, like, yeah, I don't think one person's been phoning the cops if I stay there too long, but if I'm there for less than 90 hours, I have not had a problem. Yeah. Sometimes it's stress, like, oh man, I hope my camper doesn't get towed tonight. Yeah. But I've never felt unwelcomed. Because I feel like even though maybe what I'm doing is illegal, I feel like I have a right to be there, as every human does. So that's the way I look at it, at least.
Yeah. So thank you, Ross. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just like, I'll hang up over here if you want to come say hi.